Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Getting all bundled up. Finally, the cardies are out. There's a vest under here. It's getting chilly, but I love this time of year. Anyway, I noticed the other day that the challenge for this month's Posca Artist of the Year is Throwback, and they're putting out lots and lots of little posts on Instagram saying, you know, look at all these prizes you can get. I think what they do is they do a challenge each month. Everybody votes on who the winner is that month, and then all the monthly winners get put into a draw at the end. I don't have a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning when you look at some of the amazing artworks that are in there. But it's good to take part, and the challenge really, the word throwback really got me thinking, what would you do for that? And of course you've got to use Posca products. But they do say you've only got to use one Posca product. If you've only got one pencil or one pen, then that's fine. So I immediately thought, my first thought was Barbie. I have got a lot of Barbie dolls. Not that I'm not a girly girl, and never was really, but I did always used to want Barbie dolls when I was a kid, but I never got one. I had a Tressie doll once where you used to turn a key and make her hair grow and go short again and long again. She got lost in one of our many moves, and I had this doll, Ham, who's currently a bit dismembered. She's got wooden legs, she's got one eye missing. I did gouge what was left of her eye out with a teaspoon, and I'm in the process of refurbing her. This is my doll, Ham. When I got her, she was as tall as me, and it was like the best Christmas present I think I ever had. Anyway, I digress. I have got a suitcase full of Barbies, and I use them to do makeovers. So there is a Barbie inside. This is what I made for our Inspired by Fairy Stories, or one of my pieces for our Inspired by Fairy Stories collaboration. There is actually still a Barbie inside this mermaid. You can still see her eyes. Help me. And I do. This one's been reshaped by being cut into, and then I've added an extra mid-section with epoxy putty. And I do nice things to them sometimes as well. But I mostly do nasty things. I don't know why. Anyway, so here is a Barbie that I happen to have handy. I had started working on her, turning her into a protect her modesty. Bit too much decolletage. She's been my muse for this. Let me show you what I've been up to. I've done some sketching. I did an initial sort of study of her and just used her, you know, really tried to draw her as well as I could, as if I was drawing from life, you know. And then I transferred that onto here. This is an Art Deco sketchbook, and it's one that's made to be really good for things like Posca pens. So I've got that, and then I found this picture online of these two Barbies. So this is, you know, one of the earliest Barbies. Quite iconic image there, we probably would all recognise, and this is a later one. I don't know what date she is, 80s, 90s there. I don't understand what all that wording is, but I can see the word anorexia in there, because I don't know what that says. I don't really want to show those words to you, but it's interesting, isn't it, the difference? I mean, there's still, I know recently Barbie, Mattel, or is it Mattel that make them, have introduced some more realistic body images. And you can get different ethnicities now and things, different skin tones and what have you, but they still, I think, got a long way to go, and I think this isn't a great image for young girls to be playing with and aspiring to, is it at all? I mean, it's just not realistic, but you know, I just they're just a bit of fun to me, and I do I do all sorts of things to them. Yes, so some of the interesting differences. One of the first noticeable things is that the later one is significantly taller, isn't she? These early Barbies were all looking off to the side. Apparently it was Malibu Barbie, I think, was the first one that looked straight ahead. This one's still looking slightly sideways, I'm not sure. Hard to tell. And also this one's much browner, but she's still blonde. But obviously she's got a suntan, whereas in these days perhaps it you know, perhaps we had a bit of a healthier attitude to the sun. I don't know. So once I started thinking about Barbies, there was so much I could do, and all the amazing colours you've got with Posca pens, Posca paint pens, to play with, made me think of all the quite garish kind of costumes and stuff that come with a Barbie. So I've got in my head that I'm going to do this one, do her like as she is, kind of naked Barbie, and I might do like a set of, as if she's in the box or something, just a set of an outfit and some accessories down there. Yeah, so with this one I've just traced off my sketch, and then with these two I'll keep that up there. I'll probably tape that up there as a reference. Keep this one handy as well. I haven't got the faces quite right, but I think it's still recognisably Barbie, and I need to make sure that you can see where the arms are fitting into the body, so it's clearly a doll, and I might accentuate the seams as well, reinforce the fact that this is a doll. So with these, what I've done is I've left this one pretty much as she was, and then this one's going to have a little kind of denim skirt and a little stretch top on. It took me ages doing the shoes. I really struggled with the shoes. So I've got a good range of these colours. I think I probably don't need to use anything like all of them. I've got a black and a white in there. In some cases I will use them direct to paper, and in other cases I'm going to scribble them onto my glass mat and use a brush and some water to apply them. And I've also got a limited number, I think this was a set we got in a school box, of Posca pencils, which are really nice. They're sort of equivalent to like polychromos or Prismacolor. They're like polychromos or Prismacolor. So these begin with P as well, don't they? I have also used just a HB and 2B pencils and a rubber, and I've got my brush, but other than that I'll only be using Posca. I might cheat, and if I decide I need a darker pencil, black or brown, or a lighter pencil like a white, I don't know how well they're going to layer up, so I could get some variations of skin tone by layering, but this paper is extremely smooth. It's made more for the Posca pens than a pencil, so I might have to cheat and use some of my polychromos or Prismacolor pencils. But what I need to remember to do is when I take a picture, I can include the Posca products that I've used. I must remember not to include any rival products. They do say that. So yeah, so I'm going to work through this. It's probably going to take me quite a long time, and I'm going to show you kind of edited highlights and speed through like I usually do, play a bit of music, and I'll be watching something else on YouTube while I do it, and I'll come back and see you at the end. So wish me luck, because I feel quite daunted by this, but I think it should be really fun.
I'm quite happy with how the background's gone on. The frustrating thing is going to be that I can't. The pencils, as I suspected, aren't going to work very well on this extremely smooth paper. So I think I'm just going to have to keep building it up with more layers of the pen, mostly put on with the paintbrush. But then I'm hoping I can get to a point where I'll be able to just apply the pen directly to the paper, perhaps use little dots of it to give a bit of texture and that kind of thing. But I think I need to get my head over it now and see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is leave it there, and then I will come back and show you how these look when I've added some more details. And I need to put a background in on here and draw some little outfits and things on there. So, but I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna leave it there for now, and I'll come back and show you in a mo. Sort of coming towards the end of working on these actual figures now. I've still got the backgrounds to do, and I'm finding I'm using a mixture of the pens directly to the paper, like to put in the details of these shoes, and I know these Posca pens come in much thinner nibs, which I wish I had right now, but I don't, so I'm using what I've got. And then I'm also doing quite a bit of just putting the pen directly on the paper, but then smudging it away with my finger just to blend it in a bit. It's frustrating that the paper doesn't really like the pencils very much, or the pencils don't like the paper. But that's not what this paper is intended for, and it is lovely for the markers. I quite like dotting with the pen like this to give a bit of texture. I can't decide. I'm kind of tempted to do a candy stripe. I might do a candy stripe background in this one and a beach background in this one. Okay, so things went
in a slightly different direction to what I was expecting. I had a bit of fun with this in front of the telly last night, making little outfits, making a little outfit and colouring it all in and cutting it out. And I made this sort of frame to look like the front of a box, and what I'm planning to do is build this up into a little 3D scene with her kind of appearing to step out the box. I decided to go with Booby rather than Barbie because I thought it would be fun. And then I'm going to use, I need to add a bit more depth around the outlines of these, just to give them a bit more, make them pop off the background more. And then I'll kind of shape them a bit with my fingers like that, and I'll use little foam dots, like little foam squares like this, to lift them up off the background. I thought about also putting a piece of acetate in here so it actually looks like a package, but then I couldn't have her stepping out of it very easily, so yeah, and also I don't think it'll photograph very well. And then this one, I'm just going to add a simple background with the with some of the colouring pencils, so I should be able to get kind of some semblance of sky and sand behind them. Yes, and that'll be it. So I will speed through the rest of that now and play some music, and then come back and see you at the end. I don't think this is like proper art. I don't think this has got a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning, but I've had a lot of fun with it. I've really enjoyed it. And it's something a bit different, isn't it? So I guess the first thing is to start working on these, just these edges. Just give these, with this one I took the black pen and I literally held it along, just ran it along there to give a bit of a, you can see there's a kind of a black outline to it. A couple of times I slipped and went over, but you can see because these are so nice and opaque, you can actually go over them. They're just like basically acrylic paint in a pen, and I just went over with more of the white and the kind of coral colour. My pink was running out. It's a quite a thin nib one, and it was running. I've had it for years, this one, and it was running out, so I could only get the pink for this first bit. So then I kind of blended it in with the coral colour, which is a lot fatter and newer, and so I was able to finish it that way. But quite like the colour in the end, and I think it contrasts nicely with the teal, and the stripes in between with the teal aren't just white. I watered down the teal colour and put it on with a brush to get like a pale teal in between, so that the white bits would pop off it a bit. Okay, right, enough rambling on. Let's crack on. I need to get this done now. I think tomorrow's the deadline. Yeah, come on, put your finger out. See, I've slipped there, so I can just go over it with the bit of the paint pen. Perfect. There. No one would ever know. The pencils work quite nicely over the top of the paint pens, actually. Better than I thought they might. But this paper is so smooth. In a Barbie world. Yeah, that's it. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. Ever since looking that up, I've had the song Blumenwell stuck in my head. It's not the best song to have stuck in your head. I was so chuffed with my little shoes. They got a little bee in them, and this has got a little bee in as well. Okay, so that will need to go about there. So I'm just going to like curl it a bit with my fingers like that. Now I've given it a bit more definition around the edges, so it'll pop off the page a bit more. I've got some fatter foam pads. Just what I'll do is just stack these up, I think. Or I'll make little, I'll make little, so these are, I'm going to make these little paper springs. We used to call them cat stairways when I was a kid. And you just cut 2 strips of paper. They're really good. You can just do it with scraps of paper and build up dimension. And it's a lot cheaper and more environmentally friendly than using little foam pads, really. So you just sit them together like that at right angles, and then just keep folding one over another like that, and it creates this little, so you can see it starting to form. Just whip through this, as it'll only take a few seconds. I've gone a bit crooked there, but it really it doesn't matter for this. If you were going to actually be seeing the paper spring and you wanted it to look perfect, then you'd take time to make sure all your folds were nice and neat, but I don't need to for this. So that's the last one. Bit more glue. Trim off the edges. Whoops. And you got this like a spring. So you can make it quite long and have things like really pop off the page with it. It's really fun. So it gives it dimension and a bit of movement as well. That might be too. See, that would be good to go behind the actual Barbie, as if she's stepping out of the box. But it's probably a bit too big to put behind here, so I'll make a shorter one. Just for the purposes of showing you what I mean, I'll do this one with the. So I've only put 2, one on top of the other at this end, because that'll be down more, and then where the skirt comes up more, I've put 3, and then that'll just pop in there. That'll do. Just a little jaunty angle. So it's just like those little Barbie sets that I always used to want when I was a kid. Never got them. I think my mum probably didn't believe in them. She's probably right. Okay. So I will probably make another paper spring to hold part of Barbie's body. The leg will stick straight down to the background though. So it will really look like she's stepping out of the box. I like that idea. And then this foot I'll stick straight down to the packaging, or perhaps with just one little foam pad underneath, just to keep her all secured. And then I need to put some kind of, I'll probably need to dig up my craft foam. It's going to be the best way, and do a couple of layers of craft foam to lift this whole frame off the background like that. Okay, so I'm going to keep working on that, and then I'll come back and show you in a minute, because I think it'd be a bit deadly dull to watch. I need to finish outlining the rest of these pieces first. Okay, just come on a bit sooner than I meant to. Just wanted to show you that, you see, you can get this nice, like, accentuate the outline quite subtly. There you go, like I have there. And it's yet another way to use these paint pens. They're so versatile. So I've just like running my pen along the edge, and then quickly before it dries, just smudging it in with my finger. So you don't get like too hard of an outline, you just get this. There's so many different ways to use these pens. They are brilliant. They do last for ages. I've had this set for a really long time. Like on this one, to get the texture on this one, I started off using it, just scribbling it on my glass mat and using it with a water brush to get the background. And then I did it a bit more concentrated and just used the brush to get some texture shapes. And then I used the pen directly to the paper. And then I used some of the pencil over the top. Yeah, they really are good, and you can cover up. You know, you make a mistake, you can cover it up because they're so opaque. But you do have to be quick to do this blending in thing, because they dry pretty fast. Not as fast as like an alcohol marker or something though, actually, because yeah, they're essentially acrylic paint. There you go. That's just giving it a bit more of a outline to make it pop off against that background. Okay, I'm really going now. I am done. So just catching the light in a bit of a funny way. That's how my Barbie boobie turned out. I'm quite happy with her. It went on an unexpected journey, but yeah, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And I think I'm just going to leave my beach babes as they are. So I need to go and take a photo of this now in a bit better light, and remember to hashtag it. I looked it up. This is what you have to do. Hashtag Posca Artist of the Year and hashtag Posca AOTY. I think that's every month. So if you're watching this and you fancy having a go and you haven't tried before, this will be my first time of going, well, you've got to be in it to win it, eh? And I think I probably wouldn't do it every time, but if it's a prompt that appeals to me like this one did, then I'll give it a go. I'm not sure how it works. I think it said something about it said that the 23rd is the deadline, and then on the 24th, and then they pick a selection that are then open to voting on the 24th. So, well, you never know. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this before I go and check out the hashtag myself and see what everybody else has done, because otherwise I'll probably be too intimidated to post it. But you know, people are usually very kind in the artistic community, very kind and supportive. I'm touched wood. I've never really had I don't think I've ever had a negative comment. People, even some of the really naff stuff that I've done, people always find something kind to say. So you know, it's always quite inspiring to have a go at one of these prompts and then see what everybody else has done with it as well. And yeah, and always amazing to see the very, very different responses to the same prompt, even using the same materials. So yeah, right, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and take a picture while I've still got some daylight. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that. And oh, just before I go, remember the 5th of November, I've got my Arty Farty party coming up. Please join me if you can. 5th of November, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. UK time. There are going to be lots of giveaways, guests and gossip, and a live doodle along if you'd like to join in. I'll leave a link below to the other video where I give you some more details about it, and you can see what you can win and everything. And also there's a draw which is open now, that you can just, all you got to do is comment "pick me." So there's a post on Instagram and a post on my Facebook page. I will leave a link to them as well, so you can get, basically there's 3 different ways you can enter, so give it a go. It's a schooler box, so it's very exciting to be able to give a schooler box away, and then there's lots of other prizes as well. So anyway, just wanted to remind you about that. I hope you'll be able to join me, and meanwhile I will see you again soon. Bye.